Media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. Hi everybody, and welcome to Obscurity Now. I'm always cool all the time, no matter what kind of pressure is going on. My name is Steve, maybe Rogers, and with me is my co-host, Yahel. Yahel, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm a spicy, hot man, unlike yourself, due to my Hispanic heritage.
He really needed a sidekick like yourself in the movie we're going to be talking about here in a second. But before we get that, happy 4th of July to you, buddy.
Yes, happy 4th of July to you. Are you feeling free today, Steve?
No, more or less freer than usual, I'd say. But I have pretty good memories about 4th of July, but usually they involve fireworks, but we're not really doing any of that today. Instead, I'm going to talk about Captain America, the TV movie, with you.
Yeah, I mean, it has its own fireworks of sorts.
I think we watched a different version.
It's an explosive film.
Yeah, if you want to, more like duds, if you ask me. But we've already said too much. If you're joining us here on 4th of July instead of having hot dogs with your family, thank you. And if you do have to leave to go have hot dogs with your family or shoot off fireworks, not to worry. Tomorrow, the video will be available on YouTube as well as the podcast. So make sure you check out all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, for those links. So, Yahel, are you ready to talk about Captain America 1979?
I am ready for this discussion.
All right, here's our feature presentation bumper.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right, so Yahel, what is your history with Captain America, the character? Like, when was the first time you ever knew there was a Captain America a fictional Captain America in this world?
I don't really know, man. It's just one of those things like that he's always just kind of been around, you know? Like, I don't remember as a little kid, like the first, I'm sure I saw him when I was like 6 or 5 or something, you know? So he's just always kind of been there, like an abusive parent. He's always kind of been there.
I mean, you don't think of him that way, do you? What are your thoughts on Captain America?
No, I mean, that's not what Jack Kirby wanted from us.
No, Jack Kirby just wanted to be paid like decently, which he never was up until the day he passed away, sadly. But that's another podcast altogether.
Thankfully, he had the pleasure of seeing his comic book, one of his characters, come to life on the small screen.
Well, around this time, they also had the Hulk show, and then there was also the 70s Spider-Man show, which but that's, they weren't Jack Kirby characters. Maybe the Hulk, I can't remember. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we're gonna do for a quick rundown on Captain America, the character is created by Jack Kirby and Joe Shuster, all the way back in 1940. Shoot, I have it written in my notes here somewhere.
1940 shoot, one of my favorite fake years.
1940 shoot. 1941, back for Timely Comics, which is what Marvel used to be called before it became Marvel. So that's a fun little cocktail piece of info if you want to impress a girl on a date.
Open up a conversation with a lady across the room you want to get in the pants of, and You're sure to go home alone, actually, by the end of the night.
Excuse me. Did you know that Marvel Comics used to be Timely Comics? And speaking of timely,
really?
I think it would be timely if we went back to my apartment.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. I'll be right back. I just have to leave you forever.
Well, it worked for my wife. Nah, not really. But yeah, I mean, actually, for me, Captain America very well might be the first comic book action or superhero that I ever read, like all the way back in, I think, first grade. You know,
Really?
when you would have like library day where they would like drag you to the library and force you to get a book. Well, there were actually several Marvel, like they were like hardbacks, and each of them had like a couple of issues of, there was one for Captain America, one for the Fantastic Four, one for Daredevil, and I remember checking out the Captain America book, if you want to call it that, and I remember I had my uncle who was staying with us read it to me, even though I think I could read at that time, but I was too lazy to do so. And
Just unwilling.
I was like, "Can you read it for me, uncle?" And he sort of explained to me like how a comic worked when he read it to me, like explaining how the thought bubbles worked and stuff like that. And and I've always pretty much liked Captain America ever since. I read the Ed Brubaker one, which is what the whole like the Winter Soldier movies were based off of. Like, and those are awesome if you're looking for any Captain America material to read. And and to me, he's definitely not old and retired like in the movies. He's still kicking ass in the comics, but that's another story. And speaking of kicking ass.
There's a lot of that. Actually, not really.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get into Captain America in 1978. It was
79.
79. Right. It was. I had a hard time. I didn't find like too much info about this. I mean, I found the basics. I mean, its runtime is an hour and 37 minutes, and you feel every minute of it. It's
an hour and 38 minutes of freedom, Steve.
I felt captured. I wanted to go to bed.
Maybe you didn't want anyone but you to be able to be heard on this podcast. Maybe you're just jealous of another Steve getting the spotlight, and that's why you didn't enjoy this movie.
Why? I don't know what you're talking about, Yahel. People know me way more than Steve Rogers. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not deluded in any way. But wow, yeah. So I'll just go ahead and jump into this synopsis before we get into the IMDb. Here we go. When Steve Rogers, a commercial artist, is almost murdered by spies looking for his late father's secrets, he is saved in surgery when the flag formula is injected into him. This serum not only heals him, but gives him tremendous strength and lightning reflexes. To help Rogers retaliate against his attackers, a government agency equips him with a special motorcycle loaded with gadgets, included a detachable shield that's not only bulletproof, but can be thrown as a weapon. Thus armed, he battles against the nation's enemies as the Sentinel of Liberty, Captain America.
Did you write that?
No, I found it. If you go a little bit deeper on the IMDb, like someone else wrote it.
Someone, yeah, that was definitely a more in-depth synopsis than the usual ones we find.
Yeah, like the regular one was just like a couple of sentences.
Yeah.
Did you want to handle some of the IMDb?
Sure. So the first thing is the guy that plays Captain America, Reb Brown. So I had never heard of this guy before, but apparently some of the people I know have heard of him, and he did like a bunch of B movies.
Oh yeah, old Rebby they call him.
Yeah, I did read that he's a legitimate big fan of Captain America.
I read that too.
Which is always nice when the actor playing the character is a fan. He certainly looks the part.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, on a level of 1 to 10 on an acting talent ability scale, I would say he didn't show up to be rated.
No. I could sense that, he, like, at first he had I could say maybe a certain charisma, but the problem is that it never, like, left that certain charisma ever.
Because at first when we meet him, he kind of just seems like a cool, chill guy.
Yes.
He's got that, like, laid back kind of charisma where he's just, like, friends with everybody. Everybody likes him because he's so easygoing.
Right.
And then about halfway through the movie, he is still like, oh, okay, yeah, to, like, everything.
You just sounded like Keanu Reeves.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what he sounds like.
He is Keanu Reeves.
This is my life we're talking about.
Right. My favorite is when he finds... there's a lot of people here who get murdered, but you never get to, like, meet them, so you never feel bad about their death. And
that's how I like my death.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying they never show the characters alive. He showed up in... I have it written, like, later in my notes, in some guy's office, and he's, like, already, like, dying, and there's just, like, no emotion on his face. He just comes up and, like, puts a hand on him, and he's like, "You're gonna be okay." Like, it's just,
and then he dies.
Yeah,
okay.
And then the guy dies, and then he still doesn't bother to emote. But more on that later. Let's make our way through the cast a little bit more.
You can go. Honestly, he's, like, pretty much the only one that I really looked into, because I mean, I kind of thumbed around, like, a few other people, but, like, man, like, nobody. These are actors who had their prime, like, before this, for the most part.
Oh yeah.
This was in 1979, so it wasn't like people I had ever heard of.
Right. So I'll just read them off. Lynn Berman is Dr. Simon Mills. Man, I found he's some of his lines and stuff, like, just come off so, like, pervy. But I don't know. Then
and was he wearing a wig?
I never. I don't know. I
think he was. His hair looked suspicious.
Well, I thought Reb Brown's hair looked suspicious, like it was like ramen or something.
You just never seen hair that free, baby.
Yeah. True, you got me there. All right, then we've got Heather Menzies Urich, yeah, is Dr. Wendy Day. Then Robin Matson is Tina Hayden. Joseph Ruskin is Rudy Sandrini. I believe that was one of the bad guys. Lance Legault is Harley. Frank Marth is Charles Barber. I know there's a lot of Frank Marth fans out there. I'm glad I mentioned him.
That can't be a real name.
No. And I'm just going to end with this last guy. Former porn star Harry Johnson was Jerry. But he was credited as Chip Johnson for some reason. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's his other porn. That's when he does, like, the real seedy porn that he doesn't want the people in the straight porn industry to find out about, I guess.
Yeah, the gay for pay porn. It's like, just call me Chip.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get blacklisted in the 70s, I guess, for 70s porn. So
Right, for sure. Oh man, there's quite a bit of fun facts here, and I'd say fun with quotation marks, I guess. You already covered that Reb Brown was a Captain America fan. And he's actually the second actor to ever portray Captain America. The first was Dick Purcell, who played Captain America in the 1944 serial. And now that I'm thinking about it, I actually did a video like 5 years ago. It's actually on this channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, that tries to decide or compares and contrasts all the actors who played Captain America. So check it out. There'll be a link in the description. There's a really funny, apparently at a Comic-Con of some kind, Reb Brown said that the production cost for this movie was $1 million.
I believe it. Did you expect it to be less?
Well, and this is the funny thing. If you go to the wiki, and I know this is a joke, someone said that the budget was $150,000.
No way.
I know. That's someone messing with us. But no, I mean, I could see like, I mean, just to like pay for the, you know, the cameraman and then for his cool van and car, like, I mean, that'd be like, you know, $500,000.
I genuinely think half the budget went to fucking helicopters.
Oh, there's so many. Oh man.
I don't know who has this hard on for helicopters. Maybe it was a thing in the late 70s, you know, everybody just loved the copters, but there are so many scenes. This movie could have been, I think, legitimately, not exaggerating, about 15 to 20 minutes shorter if they had trimmed down these helicopter scenes, because there's two in particular where it's just long scenes of a helicopter being followed by the camera. One of them, the helicopter is chasing Captain America on his motorcycle before he's like taken up the Captain America mantle.
Right.
And that goes on, dude, it felt like 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, I know it's probably obvious, but I mean, that's an old trick where if you want to extend your runtime, you just have a long ass like vehicle chase, or even some people don't even do chases. It's just, here's a guy driving in a car for like, you know, 5 minutes just to extend the runtime. And I'm wondering if like who's the raper of childhood? Michael Bay. I wonder if he didn't take a few cues from director Rob Holcomb.
Maybe.
Because like that's, I mean, you don't see as many helicopters like outside of a Michael Bay movie as you do here in 1979 Captain America. And there was a few more credits that we forgot here. I mean, this brilliant script was written by Don Ingalls. I mean, he did the teleplay and the story, and I guess his writing partner Chester Crumholes, former porn star Chester Crumholes, helped him with the story. Crumholes. So you can't make this stuff up.
Oh my God. And you know what? Sorry, just one more thing about these helicopters.
Oh, please go for it.
There's another helicopter scene towards the end that's even longer than the first helicopter scene and less exciting, because it's literally just shots of a helicopter like kind of following him on his motorcycle, and he's like trying to catch up to a semi truck. And it goes on for like 15 minutes, and there is literally one sentence of dialogue.
I know.
Like, unbelievable. The audacity, Steve. The audacity.
Since we're talking about that scene, maybe it's the one piece of dialogue that I'm thinking of. It's when Cap feels the need to call Simon, who's in the helicopter. He's basically doing the, I don't know, what do you call it, the cover guy or the intelligence guy.
He's a doctor,
right?
But he can also fly a helicopter.
Of course. I mean, you got to be able to do both, back in 1979.
That's 7-year med school stuff. Come on.
Absolutely. But he goes, well, he keeps, for some reason they have to use like code names, I guess, because I don't know if you know, but actually, I mean, we might as well just get into this now. This Captain America sort of encompasses some really popular trends that was going on in the 70s. Number one, that of like the really cool souped up van. Like everybody had to have a cool van. Also, like Evel Knievel was like a big deal.
Yep.
And then
his suit like reeked of Evel Knievel.
Oh, he reeked of evil, all right.
Maybe some Super Dave Osborne too.
Thank you for referencing Super Dave Osborne. You'll get you'll get a bonus in your
thank you.
In your check. Yeah. And then also for a while, like CB radios were really popular, and I guess that's why, because Captain America would like call him up and be like, Chopper, like something's happening. It's like, I don't think you guys need to use your like call signs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
when he like radioed him to tell him, I just dropped off my bike. Like he's on the truck.
That's what I was gonna. And then he just replied, well, I'll have my men come pick it up. It was like it was like the person who wrote this were like, oh man, the audience is really going to be worried about what happened to Cap's bike, so we need to let them know that it's going to be okay. So
it was so weird. It was definitely just to get the CB radio in. I think you're right.
But I mean, I think it was to let the audience know that the bike was okay too. Like it was twofold of ridiculousness.
But the thing is, like, so I thought the same thing at first too. Like, okay, well, I guess his bike is going to get used one more time at least before the movie ends, and that's why they're like letting the audience know so there's no plot hole about the bike. But no, we don't see it again.
Oh man.
Smoke Monster in the chat said that this Captain America movie used to play on TV all the time for some reason, and I've heard of this movie before, but I had never actually watched it. I don't remember it airing on TV, but I mean, I'm sure it did, but I lucked out, I guess.
Yeah, like I forgot to ask you your history with this movie because I had never seen it either. A big Captain America mark, if you will. I didn't watch it. I'm pretty sure I watched this one and maybe even the sequel. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there is a sequel to this movie.
A sequel that cost $3 million to make. The first one was so successful. The sequel has 3 times the helicopters.
Right. According to Reb Brown, it cost nearly $3 million.
I think I'm sure he's something. He's too stupid to lie.
He's just too good looking to lie. You got to believe him.
Yeah. He's a handsome man. Got to give him that.
Yeah, I mean, he was built for the part. No doubt about that. And he's just too laid back. You got to trust a guy who's as laid back as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Well, we haven't gotten to the bad yet, so we'll.
What did you think about the lady that played? She was like in charge of Flag. Dr. Wendy Day, the actress Heather Menzies-Urick. Have you ever seen her in anything before?
I think I know what's coming on.
No, Steve. It's not. I've never seen her in Star Trek. I've never seen her in Star Trek.
No, I don't think I've ever seen anyone in this. I mean, I'm familiar with Reb Brown from B movies, but I've never seen anybody else from this movie in anything else.
Well, I've never seen her in Star Trek, but she has seen 2 different captains because she was in T.J. Hooker with Captain Kirk and Spencer for Hire, in which Captain Sisko played Hawk.
All right, here it comes.
Oh no! We've just entered another Star Trek connection.
Oh, it never gets old. Yes, I was, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this is gonna be tough for Yahel to connect to Star Trek this time, but he found a way.
Yeah. Everyone's connected to Star Trek somehow. Every production.
When will we be? When will we be?
I can only get so erect thinking about this.
God. Well, that's a new low for our show.
To keep it a little more PG, but this Yingling Light is really good.
Oh, man, I really miss Yingling. For some reason, they don't have it on the West Coast.
I mean, it's definitely not a beer I drink very often these days, but I'm usually in a bottle of vodka because I have real life problems now. So you gotta go straight to the liquor.
What beer do you think Reb Brown drink or Captain? Now let's go with Reb Brown. What do you think he drinks these days?
Natty Light. Yeah. There was actually I almost bought it when I was at the store. There was a Natty Light can covered in like stars and stripes and stuff, but
yeah.
I was like, I don't want to put that in my body.
Nice.
I tell you what I do want to put in my body is the sequel to this movie because, Steve, unlike you, this was better than I expected. I got to be honest.
Really? Oh, my goodness.
No one is more surprised than me. I thought like it was interesting how this movie, the plot of it, kind of follows the formula that modern Marvel movies do.
It's true.
Let
me jump in there real quick. Are we launching into the good now?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. We do have a format. What were we talking about first? The bad, right?
I mean, we were still, there were a few more fun facts, like 1 or 2.
Oh, go ahead. Go. Drop your FFs.
And I mean, the only reason I'm jumping in is because I have 2 new bumpers.
Please.
Yeah, you can never have enough. I read that somewhere.
Just like you can't have enough Reb Brown.
Yeah. He sounds like a condiment of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. Oh, is your steak a little dry? Why don't you put a little red brown? Rub a little red brown.
Put a
on
little red brown on it.
Red brown rub.
Yeah.
Sounds like Bob Loblaw from Arrested
It
Development.
does. Yeah, he should really go into the the barbecue business with JR.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I found it interesting that apparently this motorcycle and van were actually loosely adapted from the comic books of the 80s. The designs were actually from Wakanda. You know, everybody loves Black Panther these days, courtesy of King T'Challa himself. And let's see, launching. Yeah, okay, and that's basically the last fun fact that I have. So let's jump right into the good.
The very, very good.
That's it. So yeah, you were beginning to praise the movie. I want to hear where this is going.
So, well, even though like modern Marvel movies can be very formulaic, especially when it's the first film for a character, I did like that. I think it's a good formula. I think it works pretty much every time. You know, you have the reluctant hero doesn't really usually want to be put in this situation to be a hero.
Sure.
Some circumstance happens that puts him into it. And they did the thing where they wait forever to actually put him in the costume.
Right. And
which I think is a good move.
And even when he gets a costume, it's not the costume. They save that to the very, very last frame. So yeah, I actually agree with you on that. Yeah, there is some, typical hero's journey stuff here, which I mean, needs to be there for every superhero movie, I would say. But of course, a lot of that stuff gets bogged down with all the spy plot stuff. And then they talk about and don't show a lot. So
yeah, and they do that, and which I assume a lot of it's budget.
Oh,
related.
Absolutely. 1 million just wasn't enough.
Well, dude, like I mean, the movie opens with like a really long shot of him driving on the road while they're doing the opening credits, but it's shot from a helicopter.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I actually.
Which back then, that's expensive as hell.
Yeah, I actually have that. I like the opening. I like the fact that they use the comic book logo at the beginning. The aerial footage of him driving around in his van is actually pretty cool. Now, what did you think about the soundtrack at this time?
I don't watch a lot of movies from the 70s. I haven't seen a lot of them outside of like sci-fi stuff. So it's definitely a 70s soundtrack, man. Like it's not, it's weird. If somebody told me based on the soundtrack what year did this get made, I would have said like 72, 73, maybe mid 70s. Weird that it's using this in the late 70s.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that period between decades where like, even though like you're in like 82, the style is still like the 70s, like it hasn't become like the 80s that everyone knows yet. So yeah, the soundtrack feels very dated, aside from there's a little bit of peppering of synthesizers here and there, like when he does his powers and stuff, which I actually kind of like. And I think to what you were saying earlier, that you expected it to be worse than it was. See, I think I watched both films back when I did my video 5 years ago, and I remembered it being better. Maybe it was the second movie that's better. But yeah, this was just it ended up being pretty boring.
See, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I didn't find it boring at all. Like outside of the helicopter scenes that went on way too long, I actually liked that there was a bit of a story in terms of a little bit of backstory here. Like it was nothing like great, but about like how he got the serum, what they were doing with it, why he had to have the serum. I like that there was a reason for that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what do you think about the reworking of Captain America's origin? I mean, essentially, this is the son of Captain America, and I tried finding reasons for why they changed it. I mean, I guess I I mean, I imagine like maybe the the two dudes who wrote this, Holtzcrum or whatever his name is, Ingalls and Crumholes. That's what it was.
Crumhole.
They're sitting around, and because all right, in the comics, it's pretty well known. Captain America was a big World War II hero. He like fell off of a missile into icy waters, which froze him and kept him preserved. And the Avengers found him and revived him in the 60s, and that's how he ended up in the 60s. So, like, why couldn't they just do that, like, for the 80s? They could have just been like, hey, look, we found... I mean, I guess it's budget.
Well, to be fair, like, we don't really know, because wasn't this initially going to be, like, a TV show?
Yeah.
And then they decided to make a movie, and obviously they had the future movies, and I did read that they had future plans to do crossovers with like Captain America, Hulk, and Spider-Man.
Yep.
So it seems like they had some like bigger plans.
Sure.
So I bet they were going to bring him back. And maybe because they said that he was murdered, but they never tell you how he was murdered.
Right.
They never tell you anything about his body being found. It's all very vague. So I assume that the idea was to bring him back, and maybe they would do some kind of playoff. Oh, it turns out, we had seen him like crash from this plane or whatever, and we assumed he was dead. Turns out he was frozen.
Oh, well, that would have been interesting. And then you could have, because they've, as far as I know, they've never done, even in the comics, they've never done like Captain America and Son. Like, it would be really weird if they somehow retconned all this into the comics like that. Because there's that whole, you saw Into the Spider-Verse, right? The whole, the Japanese Spider-Man was like a show over there, and he's got like, it's very Power Rangery, and I mean, and essentially they Into the Spider-Verse makes that canon by bringing it into the movie. Whatever. I mean, they'll never reference the show ever in the future, I'm sure.
No, I don't think there's any danger of that. One thing I liked about the serum, and I maybe like isn't the right word, because it's something that caught me off guard. But I think it works because they were trying to ground this kind of in reality.
Sure.
The movie, which I also appreciated, because I thought it was going to be like very corny and very cheesy, kind of geared at kids. And it looked like they were trying to like kind of like market it more towards adults. And
I would say that it has the same tone as the Incredible Hulk show, basically.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But they refer to the serum first. They call it a steroid.
Oh, yeah. I've got that written right here. I'm like, steroid, exclamation. But maybe in 79, they weren't frowned upon so much.
Well, I don't think that they were illegal until the early 80s, so they might have still been legal.
Thank you, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it was just funny because he's like, basically, he says something to the effect of, basically, it's a super steroid or the ultimate steroid,
right.
He calls it.
Yeah, that is funny.
And then he kind of explains a little bit further how it was made or whatever. So I thought it was good that they like kind of grounded it in reality a little bit more, rather than have it be some like weird experiment that the government was running where anybody could become, a super soldier. I did like that they made it more like, hey, you're the only guy because, this is tied to the genes of your father, and you're his only living relative or son or whatever. You're the only one that can take this without dying, because every mouse they give it to dies. Right.
Well, I mean, in the original Captain America origin, like the scientist who created the super soldier serum, after Captain America takes it, is immediately gunned down by Nazis. So basically, all the other super soldiers that Cap goes up against, it's like, not the same. It's not as good, basically.
Yeah.
So I mean,
like they're not using real sugar. They're using
Splenda,
that cornstarch stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Corn syrup.
Exactly. But yeah, like it was interesting, the backstory that they created, and yeah, I didn't hate it either. I just wish like I could find out why. I mean, I guess there was really no reason. It's just what they decided on. Grounding it in reality, basically.
Yeah. And I like that when, speaking of good, I've got more. I like that once Captain America is given the serum to save his life, because he doesn't want it earlier in the movie, that some of his concerns that he brings up are like, well, now I have to be like super careful about everything I do. If I lose control, I could hurt somebody. I could even kill them. He talks about that. He makes a terrible, a hilarious example of it when he's like holding a pencil. He's like, if I shake this too hard or squeeze it too hard, and then he breaks the pencil. Well, shit, Captain America, if I squeeze a pencil too hard, it'll break too.
I know. Like, I thought that was pretty hilarious, too. I'm like, yeah, it's just a pencil, man. I think I can handle a pencil.
But I did like that it established, it was one of the few times in the film where they showed rather than told. And I mean that they are showing you that he has like a certain moral center, and he's concerned about, hey, I have to be real careful about what I do in everyday life now so I don't hurt others.
Right, right.
So I thought that went a long way to establishing who he is as a person.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is decent, I would say. But it's all executed how I felt, in the most...
He doesn't deliver the lines well, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's one of the many problems of this. Let me see did you have any more good, Yahel?
I liked that they blew up like real, like when his van gets thrown off the side of the mountain or whatever.
Sure,
that they did a real van instead of like cheap miniature stuff.
And I loved when the dummy flew out of that van onto the mountain.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was awesome. I mean, I'll say that's like good bad.
Yeah, there's some interesting shots in this movie too, like when Captain America's at the beach with the Dr. Bills or whatever, and they do like the zoom out shot, and as it zooms out, it goes through like one of the bad guys' windows that's watching him from like a few hundred feet away or whatever. There's a few cool shots in the film. I actually liked the special effects didn't look too bad. They didn't try to do more. Generally, they didn't try to do more than they really could with their budget.
Right.
Just some like super jumping stuff that looked pretty decent. I thought. I wouldn't have expected. I think these special effects would have been something you could expect to see in an actual real film, like that had made it to the movies. Like there was nothing that screamed TV special effect to me. No.
And of course, you gotta love the van and the bike. Even though, I mean, they said it
has rocket and jet power, Steve.
and then when they finally get to the the suit, when they put all the gadgets in the van and they show it transform and stuff, I love how the bike just like shoots out of it. It's actually kind of interesting, I think. But it's like
because it didn't look like they had sped up the footage.
No, it looked pretty good. But let's see.
Let's get to the bad, Steve. I can tell that you're itching to go, Steve. You're already queuing up your new bumper.
And here it comes.
The very, very bad.
All right.
A little gold dust there at the end.
Oh, well, it's supposed to be like shuddering in terror, not like erotically. But you take it however you want, buddy.
Well, Steve, it can be both.
I think you're the weirdo on this episode. Usually it's me being attracted to cartoon characters, but you're the...
Well, Steve, this might be in your bad, actually, but somebody did just comment, Historic Nerd, you're telling me that the epic oil slick scene isn't worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster?
Oh, man. Well, I think I have that in the bad section. I mean, I just thought that was funny. And the face that he makes when he sprays the oil on those guys, like there's a slideshow playing here for those who are listening, and there was a still from that very scene up here, and he's just grinning ear to ear. He thinks it's hilarious, and
he thinks, and those, I thought that was so funny too, because like those guys were slipping and sliding like they were like it was Astroglide or something. And
it was like typical Three Stooges stuff, basically.
Yeah, and they still have their guns. They can shoot them. Just lay down and shoot them.
Well, what I thought was funny is, I mean, man, those security guards were, man, they were diligent. They were like shooting at him. It's like it's just just an intruder. You're supposed to just get him and kick him out, like. And how can you shoot at the flag, man?
Right.
But yeah, like for some reason I remembered the music being better than it was. Like, again, maybe it was from the second movie, but I have written here that The music was a bit of a snooze fest. However, it is very indicative of like TV soundtracks at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Cap's laid back attitude is fun at first, but then that also I found very snooze inducing after a while.
He never, like, the intensity never ramps up for him, you know?
No.
Like, once people are dying and stuff, and like once they've attempted to kill him for the second or third time, at some point you think he'd like get pissed.
Yeah.
And, like, pissed.
I mean, that's what, you know, and that's what we all want to see, you know, just, you know, heroes in there, you know, get pissed and beat the crap out of things.
Historic Nerd also commented about Reb Brown that his acting has two settings: yelling really loud or just smiling with a stupid grin. Just the best.
We didn't even get the yelling really loud. Like, he seemed slightly perturbed at times, like when Simon was trying to talk him into, you know, taking the serum and becoming Captain America. He was just like, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And then he's like back to being the surfer dude again. I mean, another thing that was, again, this, and I guess this is for, you know, fans of the regular Cap, is it's just weird seeing Captain America hang out on the West Coast because, you know, Marvel is so East Coast centric. What?
That's so nitpicky.
But it's true, though. It's true.
Because he's on the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, he's not some surfer dude. He's
not
like
my Captain America.
And he's a soldier, and that's another thing is that, you know, military dudes, they act like, I mean, he's supposed to be a former Marine. They have like a way of like sort of standing and acting, and like he never, I never felt like.
Now, Steve, I see what you're saying, but I will also say that later on, he has a little monologue about how he's tired of the military life and the yes sir and no sir and being told what to do, and how he doesn't want to have to look forward to weekends. He wants to be free to do whatever he wants every day. So like, I'm okay with him acting that way because he's like trying to like get rid of the military life in his life.
Wow, that's deep.
I can't believe that I am defending this movie so.
I can't believe you are either.
Dude, if you would have told me this before I watched it, I would have been like, "Get out of here!" No, that's not going to happen. I think, you know, I mean, Reb Brown's dubious acting aside, like he's as a character, I think they did a pretty good job of establishing who Steve Rogers is. They just, like you said, though, made him too laid back for too long.
Yeah, he just needs some range. He just needed some acting lessons. That's all. Yeah, I feel like the director, Mr. Holcomb, I swear, I mean, I could only imagine that, you know, they didn't really have a lot of time to shoot this, and he's probably like, hey, get in there, Mr. Brown, bada bing, bada boom, bae, you're done. All right, let's go back and do some cocaine, 70s style or something. I don't know. But let's see. Yeah, I just thought that, I mean, there was just an overall lack of humanity in the entire film. Even in the way that there was just like the way the people were blocked in the scenes, they just stood around in the most boring way possible. You said there were a lot of helicopter scenes and chases. There was a lot of talking on phones. I mean, I guess that's how, but, you know, a couple of them are okay, but I swear, like, almost every, like, third scene was a talking on the phone scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff that I think, to your point earlier, was done just to extend the time. Like, after they, at one point, to get him to the point where his van's going to veer off, they make him take a detour by setting up a fake little road construction area. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll take the detour since there's construction here. And then they do a shot that stays on these guys putting the signs back, like basically wrapping up, like putting away their fake construction equipment. Why?
Well, see, how people had much better attention spans back then, I guess.
Like, but clearly it's just like to like drag out the scene.
Right.
But sorry, Steve, I just got to put a couple more messages in the chat. Smoke Watcher said, could we be in the middle of a Reb Brown assance? Historic Nerd. After having watched decades of Reb Brown, he never gets better. He just yells more.
Man, this is the only Reb Brown I think I've ever seen from start to finish. Was he like the Bruce Campbell of his day? Like, I don't know.
Maybe we might have to look up some more of his work?
Yeah. I smell future episodes, maybe.
We could probably get him on as a guest.
Yeah. That sounds. At least we know Historic Nerd will show up.
Yeah.
But all right, what else do we have here? I mean, you already talked about how the final action sequence takes forever, and it is so anticlimactic. But before we get to that, I mean, the shield. I mean, all right, I get that they were trying to like modernize it, but it looks like a child's frisbee or a dog's like massive dog food bowl. I like how
it looks very cheap.
I mean, I almost understand their thinking. It's like, oh, it's the windshield on the motorcycle, so he needs to be able to see through it. And that makes sense, but it almost makes too much sense because, again, it looks flimsy and weak. It doesn't look bulletproof in the slightest. And I mean, Cap, he would put the shield in front of like the little hover bikes that Shield has. I forget what they're called at the moment. So I mean, it is comic accurate, but again, that shield is freaking weak, man.
Yeah, it looked real cheap. Like you said, you can see it bending a few times. It just looks like some plastic thing that they found and just painted.
Yeah, kid's toy. I mean, I understand why they had to do it, but I just got sick of hearing about Steve's dad, who I guess is the real Captain America. I mean, we still don't know at this point. Probably never will.
Yeah. Dude, I did think it was funny that they said the doctor tells Steve that, yeah, they used to call your dad Captain America as like a joke, you know, to insult him. Which I thought it was like funny that's like how the name came about.
And then when he presents the costume to him, he goes, I think it was in this scene, he goes, "We're going to ram Captain America down their throats." I'm like, that's more of a Harry Johnson line, if you ask me, but or part of the Captain America XXX porn parody.
I'm sure that was Crumholes or whatever his name is. That
Yeah, probably that sick pervert.
You're gonna ram him down. You're gonna ram yourself down his throat, down his crumble.
But yeah, they really did try to use some logic in making this thing work. It was just.
But we're in the bad. We're in the bad, Steven. I feel like you have a long list.
You know, all right. I mean, it's longer compared to the good. There's when Steve ends up in the hospital. I love how that one henchman just casually walks right into the hospital room. There was nobody standing guard or anything. But hey, man,
with his gun, like he walked in holding the gun already. Like,
I mean, I guess this is pre 9/11. It was the swinging 70s. Everyone's coked out of their minds. So the nurse was just like, oh, just go right in, Mr. Gunhold. For people who concentrated so much on the logic of one Captain America, they didn't seem to care about how a henchman can just walk right into a hospital. And I will say that at least like the henchman and the main bad guy, like they're so generic, I don't even really remember their names, but those dudes at least attempted to act. I'll give them.
I mean, I would say most people in this movie they're okay actors. They're decent enough, with the exception of Red Brown, the young girl that was the daughter of the guy that dies. And by the way, so her dad dies, right? And this is the guy who was being used to make the neutron bomb.
Yes, neutron bomb. Yeah.
Wanted. Anyways, but it was being done against his will because the bad guys had his wife. Anyways. So the guy gets killed, and his daughter, is not taking it well. But then, some doctor is like, I gave her a sedative. Somebody asked her, is she going to be okay? I think Red Brown says, is she going to be okay to the doctor? And he's like, well, I gave her a sedative, but she should go to the hospital for a day or two. Why? Why?
Oh, man, if only that doctor could have been played by Bill Cosby.
Is this what people were going to the hospital for in the 70s?
Well, she was upset. You have to cure those emotions. People need to be a little more Red Brown and a little less that lady. I mean, come on.
But it was just weird. I mean, it made sense that she's upset, right?
Sure.
But it was just weird. I gave her a sedative.
I gave her some ludes, man.
I drugged her, but I recommend she goes to the hospital for a day or two. Is it because of the sedative?
I gave her too much. I'm a terrible
Historic
doctor.
Nerd said that. Historic Nerd commented that the shield looks like one of those stylish bowls from Pier 1 Imports, but more importantly, he just said Captain Roofy.
Thank you for coming up with better comments than what we're coming up with.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, Steve. Continue with your bad.
No. I mean, we've already hit a lot of it. That the first Cap costume is pretty bad. Like you said, it reeks of Evel Knievel, and it's just really just the fact that the stripes are like a vest. Oh, that's like just awful. But I guess.
What did you think of the second costume, the final costume at the end?
I mean, it was and another thing. I mean, it was better, of course. But another thing, I was like, I thought it was funny how Simon was like, "Oh, you need to wear this costume so you can hide your identity." Yet his like goggles are see-through, and you can like see his face just perfectly fine. I think it would have been, it probably would have looked a little too sinister if they made the goggles like black or something, or they could have done goggles with like the stripes on it, like Macho Man used to have. Like,
now his final costume covers him up a little bit better, because it's more like the comic book costume.
Yes. But they still had to have a helmet, which is pretty funny because I mean that's what they did for the World War II outfit in the Marvel movie. You know, he had a helmet in that one as well, and I guess in the subsequent films as well. Now that I think of it, which. I mean, what even is it in the comics, and why does he always have those little wings? I never really understood that.
I don't know what that's for either.
But the current design is pretty cool. Like, the wings are just sort of drawn on. But anyway, I know you're not going to read any Captain America. It's fine. But neither am I.
Why would I? I've already seen the peak of Captain America, Brett Brown.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, he and Chris Evans have ever actually met. I
mean, I assume that he mentored Chris.
Right. Let me show you how to throw. Wait, let me show you how to throw the shield, Chris. Just pick it up.
Take you under my shield, man.
Just delicately grab it like this, and just woo, there it goes. Now let's.
Dude, what am I? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Let's go do some lewds. Okay. All right, I'm done.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is when Steve Rogers and the doctor guy that's trying to convince him to become Captain America are walking on the beach, and the doctor tells him, "No, your father believed in the real American ideals," and Steve says, "Those are hard to find these days." And then the doctor replies, not if you look hard enough." And then Steve replies, "Right on."
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah,
right
you got
on.
It. Yeah. Oh, and I just want to say that they are on. Looks like they're hanging around Malibu, Pacific Coast Highway area. Pretty sure I've walked where they've walked, just to make you a little bit jealous since you love this movie so much. But hey, you ever come out here and visit me, man? We'll go. We'll go to the spots where Captain America 1979 was shot, and we definitely won't check out any of the cool places where Star Trek was shot. Oh, and I've been there too, by the way. That weird rock thing that Kirk has been to, I've been there.
The Vasquez rocks.
That's it. Yeah. The Yahel Velazquez.
They're actually in every Star Trek series they've been used. It's a thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, enough about Star Trek.
Yes.
I think that pretty much covers it. Let's see. Lacks any humanity. Blah blah blah. I think I said the soundtrack at times sounds like A-Team meets Murder, She Wrote. And I think that's it. I mean, I think like I wanted to like it more if they. Oh, okay. Let's get to the end, which is so anticlimactic. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wanted to see Captain America, bust some heads. But that did not happen at the end.
I am shocked that he didn't defuse the bomb himself.
Right.
Like, real weird. And he sounds like a complete moron when he gets to the bomb. So he breaks into the truck that they're carrying this bomb in. And he's like, "I think this might be the bomb." And so he's like on his little CB radio again, talking to the doctor. And he's like, "All right, well, describe it to me. What do you see, Captain America?" And he's like, "There's a blue light. There's a green blinking light. There's a dial and a digital clock." And then the doctor's like, "Yep, that could be a neutron bomb."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was anticlimactic, dude. And then, so the main bad guy is in the truck, the pickup truck, not the pickup truck, like a big rig truck, like in the, I don't know what it's called, the container part with the bomb. And to knock him out, does Captain America go in, break in there, punch him? Nope. He tilts one of the, I don't know what they're called, mufflers, the giant exhaust
that
things.
was so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and he tips it into a like window that leads into the container, and just like, the exhaust fumes go in there, and it almost kills the guy. What? After like 5 seconds, the guy is like dying.
Like, I think they were looking for excuses to avoid a fight at all costs, because they just didn't have the time or the money. Like,
I have a theory.
Okay.
They didn't want, like, because this was going to be on network TV, and they thought, okay, even though this is kind of geared and written like for adults to enjoy, they knew kids would watch it. The violence in this movie is very weird. Even when Captain America's van gets thrown off the side of the mountain, Captain America gets out of the van, his shirt is ripped in 2 places, and no blood.
Right. This is.
There's like nobody ever has blood. When he gets into a fight with the henchmen, like, he throws like meat at them.
Yeah.
And we don't even see him knock out 2 of the 3 henchmen. They just cut to a shot where they're on hooks.
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing, for sure. I mean, like, they show the Incredible Hulk like hit things. Like, why can't Captain America hit things?
But think about it. He also, when those soldiers, those security guards we were talking about earlier, sorry, I just read that historic nerd road. Chris Evans, nah, bro. Reb Brown. If only they can get him on Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Man, I hope the Falcon and Winter Soldier never comes back, but that's another.
Well, if Reb Brown is on it,
I'll watch it then. Yeah, I'll admit it.
Yeah. But even when he's like dealing with those security guards and he throws like the oil on them or whatever, and they slide around, he doesn't fight them, right? Like,
no,
he just does that. He doesn't lay a finger on them.
No.
Then when he takes like the scientist and asks him for information, and he finds the 2 ladies that were kidnapped, he doesn't punch him either. He like throws him in there, kind of a little bit of a shove. Then he like grabs him by his collar, gently puts him up against the wall, asks him a few questions, and the guy like
faints.
Yeah, he like faints, but it almost seems like he died because Captain America checks his pulse, and then he makes this face. He goes, and he gets out of it. It was the weirdest thing.
I think that, all right, since we're going on the theory that they wanted to have like as little violence as possible and to keep things as kid-friendly as possible, I think what was supposed to happen there is he was supposed to check the pulse to show that he was alive. But Rev Brown lacks, any kind of like, nuance to be like, all he had to do was like, he's okay, and then like move on. It's like he was just like, what the hell am I doing here? I'll just touch him and I'm gone.
He's like, oh my God, something's wrong. His neck is pulsating. Oh, I better get out of here. No, that means he's alive, Rev.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
broke this guy's neck, and now it's like, shooting blood everywhere inside it. Man.
My God, this man is filled with blood. What have I done?
Yeah. All the while, the crew was back there just yawning and just like, well, what's the next thing we're shooting? Incredible Hulk, season 4.
Yeah. But Steve, the anticlimactic end with the guy's knocked out, the main bad guy, and they find that he's got a dead man switch attached to him that measures his pulse. They did establish that earlier, though, that was to be like his little safety net so the police, in case the police showed up.
Right.
So once again, I hate to defend this movie, Steve, but they did provide a reason for it earlier.
I'll say that, characterization of Captain America, strong. The logic that a lot of the more outlandish and fantastic science fiction elements, strong. It's just the like pacing and execution and like action, all of that is bad.
I agree. Those are definitely the weak parts.
And obviously the Reb Brown just, he needed a lot more acting.
Yeah.
I wonder was this his first role? Did you happen to know?
I don't know, but
I just didn't know if you saw it when you were researching. But
historic nerd would probably know. He seems to be
president
real
of the Reb Brown fan club.
He just wrote that Reb Brown's the man who can save the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I don't think anyone can save that sinking ship.
Anyway, so the guy's like dying somehow. The bad guy is dying from breathing like fumes for 5 seconds.
Fumes for 5 seconds. Yep.
And his pulse is getting so low that they're afraid the dead man switch is going to go off. So they basically give him some oxygen, give him a shot, and then they're like, "Oh, his pulse is getting better. He's going to be okay." And then Captain America goes, "So we're all going to be okay?"
It's like that sounds like a line that like some little kid would deliver. Like and it was weird. Like, so he basically didn't save the day. All he did was allow this guy to come in and, this medic, like probably, making slightly above minimum wage medic. And he...
No, this guy talks to the president, sir. That medic.
Oh, right. Okay, so, all right, he's got a government salary.
Or so he says.
Yeah, so he says.
We never actually see him talk to the president.
Yeah, so, all Captain America did was, like, he was more concerned about his bike being taken care of.
Captain America actually almost set off the neutron bomb.
Yeah.
By almost killing this guy. So, Captain America... is he the hero of this?
I'd like to pretend that the van and the bike are, because they were the most interesting things in this entire film. It would have been interesting if they would have been able to continue moving forward to see like how many other scenarios they would come up with to keep Cap from ever having to throw a punch. So they already did an oil slick. He already used like smoke, basically, noxious smoke. Like next,
he threw meat at a butcher place.
Right. Yep.
At the guys.
Throwing meat. That's an old standby.
He didn't throw the shield at anyone, I don't think. No. So I guess we still got that.
Like I was thinking, he could throw the shield at like something that's above the bad guys and it would fall on them. Like that's like
I could see that.
That's pure like 70s cheese right there. Like I don't even it's weird because when I think back at least at 70s cinema, all I think about is like I guess the more like violent very like nihilistic stuff that came out like like Chinatown or the original Rambo, First Blood. I think that was like 1979. But I guess TV is like a completely different beast.
Yeah.
I guess if we were to go back and watch like A-Team episodes, which I think were like late 70s, early 80s, it would be pretty much the same thing.
Yeah,
or
no one ever gets shot. Like they shoot a lot of guns, but no one ever actually gets shot.
Yeah, like G.I. Joe, the cartoon. Yeah.
Sure. Anytime somebody falls out of something, they always land in like a thing of water.
Right.
Which actually happens in this movie too. Yeah. Somebody falls out of a helicopter into a thing of water, but
right. I remember the Cobra jets would get shot down, and they would always parachute out like all the time. But all right. Anyway, I think any last words to defend Captain America 1979?
No, I think I'm ready to see. I think I know what you feel about it, if it deserves to be remembered or not, but I think we're ready.
All right. So, in accordance to Obscurity Now, does Captain America 1979, does it deserve to be remembered or tossed into the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
I liked it. If I were to watch it, if somebody was to take my opinion to heart and go watch it, I would just say fast forward. Once you see a helicopter flying through the air, just fast forward till it's done. You'll save about 20 minutes, and the pacing will suddenly be much better.
Or you could just take a shot whenever you saw a helicopter.
We don't want him to die.
So you're saying it should be remembered?
Yeah. I think it's actually, shows a lot of like what became the template later on for, Marvel movies when they want to introduce a new character in their first movie.
It's true, but on the other hand, I think this is the worst movie we've watched.
I think this is one of the best things we've watched.
I'd rather watch Generation X than this. Just because, like, there's stuff in there that's memorable. The only thing in this movie that I think is memorable is the van, the motorcycle, and the costume. Other than that, everything else is disposable. So, I mean, I think it'll probably be lost to time anyway. But if anyone asked me, I'd say you should skip it. I mean, I'd rather watch the canon, like 1990 Captain America, rather than this. Have you seen that one, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it is a stalemate for Captain America 1979.
Second stalemate in a row.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've only sort of just implemented this, like
100% of our opinions have been stalemates.
I'll have nothing but
Great.
See how long the stalemates will keep going. Anyway, I think that is going to do it for this episode of Obscurity Now. Is there anything else that the people need to know, Yahel?
No. I will say if you're going to watch this movie, try and watch it for free, though. Don't rent it like I did.
Oh, you paid? Oh, you should have told me, man. It wasn't on Tubi?
It is on Tubi. I didn't find out until after.
You got to tell.
I don't want. It was like $2.
Oh, well, I still don't want you spending money on crap like this.
And I didn't have to watch commercial. Actually, I'm glad I am glad I rented it, because between the helicopter scenes, I don't want commercials added to that. So
that's a good point. Well, hey, I mean, it sounds like you enjoyed it, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode of Obscurity Now. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you will never miss an episode, or you can subscribe to the podcast feed if you're more of an audio person. And we'll see you next week. And remember, Obscurity Now, insanity later.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.